Why do you feel burnt out, exhausted, maybe even depressed? Yes, there can be many reasons for this, but one reason I want to bring up comes from author Byung-Chul Han. And I wanted to bring this up largely because it's a well-known book called The Burnout Society. Secondly is that I'm beginning to work and to sketch out a series of lectures on Byung-Chul Han. I'm a Han maximalist. I've read him for years. And it is interesting, he's becoming much more popular lately, and I think it would be useful for me to maybe give a set of like 16 short lectures or talks on him and his various writings. But here I just want to just briefly talk about his argument for why you feel burnt out and tired and exhausted. First and foremost, he says on page 10, depression is creative fatigue and exhausted ability. His argument isn't that depression comes because someone says no to you or is mean to you. You might feel sad if that happens. Depression is not, he says on page 41, a consequence of repression. It's a really important key in his argument. For Han, depression is actually the consequence of unlimited freedom wedded with the compulsive need to do more, such that you burn your own soul out like a candle burning brightly, ever brighter and brighter until there's nothing left. As he says on page 11, the complaint of the depressive individual, quote, nothing is possible, can only occur in a society that thinks, quote, nothing is impossible. The depressive has been wounded. There's another quote. The depressive has been wounded by internalized war. Depression is the sickness of a society that suffers from excessive positivity. It reflects a humanity waging war on itself. Excess work and performance escalate into auto-exploitation. Auto means self-exploitation. We are both the exploiter and the one exploited. We are predator and prey at once, he argues. We have so much perceived freedom that there's no limit to it. So you finished work at 6:30 and you get home and you think, I can eke out a bit more, I can do this thing on maybe a social media, or I could get this course, or I could advance here or there. Sometimes you can answer email at home, so you do it until 11 p.m. at night, 12 a.m. And you keep pressing yourself because there's always more you can do. There's no limits. Artificial light allow you to stay up later. Internet allows you to work from home. It all seems to promise you more freedom, but in the promise of freedom, you find yourself more and more enslaved to the things that promise to free you. Technology has done many wonderful things for us, but much technology, especially communication technology, has actually bound us more and more. I remember when I was a kid, I could leave my house and no one could contact me. If they wanted to call me, there was a phone attached to a wall, or a wall, but on a counter sometimes too. You'd call and leave a message, or my mom would answer and she'd let me know someone called. It wasn't until I was like maybe 16 that I had my first flip phone, and that promised a lot of freedom. You could text message and so on. But then the smartphone came, and eventually that freedom for me just to leave and enjoy my time with friends and family is gone. I'm always bound to the next email, the next text message, the complaint that you didn't answer when I called you. If I had a landline phone, I could leave for a weekend. Nobody would know, nobody could connect with me, and nobody would care because that's just the way things are. But nowadays, I am completely bound to the technology that promised freedom. Not just the technology, but the kind of society that we've created that promises freedom through you pulling up yourself by your own bootstraps and doing more, by conquering, by winning, by constantly doing more. Winning is not bad. Doing good work is not bad. Working hard is not bad. But the constant pressure that we place upon ourselves, because the traditional limits of repression are gone and the illusion of freedom is here, means that we feel like we must work and be productive at every moment of the day. And it creates this sort of what Byung-Chul Han calls this pressure to achieve. Burnout syndrome, he says, does not express the exhausted self so much as the exhausted, burned out soul. Through this imperative to achieve, the imperative you can do it. There's always something you can do. You can do more is the very thing that brings us to this exhausted, burned out state. That at least is a part of the argument of Byung-Chul Han that I hope to explore in the coming months as I prepare by rereading his work and taking notes. Because I want to help you to understand the modern age, and I think that Byung-Chul Han is one of the best interpreters of reality today. There are some things that I don't think he gets perfectly correct, but there are many more things that he says that I think correspond to the way things are and open up a sort of funnel of understanding that we could have never seen apart from hearing the sort of prudential or wise words that he shares. Whether or not you agree with them in whole is not the point, but it gives you the ability to discern why it is that you feel the way you do. And if you're watching this and you feel burnt out, fried out, at the end of your rope, well, keep coming back to this channel. I'm going to continually be talking about past wisdom for human flourishing today. And in particular, I'm going to be talking more and more, it'll be a few months till I get into it, about our technological age in which we find ourselves burnt out and constantly extended by auto-exploitation. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. I have another video that should be above my shoulder right now about Byung-Chul Han in one of his recent, I think in his most recent book, on hope.